to the fourth subtopic for today, which is communicating our intent of design in the form of drawing. Yeah, so this is the drawing with the level of detail that we have created from first, like as you see in the first subtopic. So you can see that this drawing has what are the detail elements that we have added to add details or reference to our drawings. The first element that you can pay attention to is adding grids. So why do we add grids? So grids are nothing but a reference element that are required in drawings with reference to which we add our annotation or annotation to model elements too. So for example, this is a particular floor plan which I have modeled based on a concept layout, and then I have created a system of grids based on the boundary of wall layers to add annotation between my let's say two grids or the two wall elements. So why do we need grids? So if you don't have grids in your model space, what is the difference that it's going to create when you print or plot your drawings? So now what it might happen is when you're like adding annotations to, if you don't have a standard reference element such as grid, it might be really difficult to add all the annotations from one particular reference point or a reference element. So it is highly suggested that you have more than one reference element, such as these grids, that will let you add the dimensions or annotations. So the next model element that we have discussed is we use the text, single line text that we have created to add tags or the names for each room. So this is a concept of office space that I have created. So you can see for each room I have created a text to annotate the room. Either it can be the entrance room, or it can be the walkway, or it can be the workspace for each person. So we use text to communicate what this room is allocated for. So when you look at this drawing, what you can understand is, okay, so this is a concept of an office sketch. So the corner two rooms are used for meeting rooms or the meeting for a room for a general manager. And we have four workspaces in the first level, which is to be occupied by four workers. And then we have a walkway surrounding that lets us to enter and exit the building. And then we have a glass panel. So how do we distinguish between the glass panel and the wall door? We will discuss to it when we discuss the attributes and match properties. So we have the entrance room that is open to, let's say like it has a glass panel door and it is open to the outside. So this is the way the drawing is designed to communicate the purpose of this plan to someone who is looking at it. So if you look at the introduction drawing, we have drawn let's say like these rooms, but we don't have the, this is the overall layout. We didn't have the interior workspaces, we didn't have the walkway, we just have it named as room 1 2 3 4. So if you look at this drawing, like all you can see is I can see a floor plan with 4 rooms. But if you look at this particular drawing, all you can see, yeah, I can see a concept layout of an office floor map with a meeting room and room for a general manager. And then there are 4 workspaces located with dimensions so and so. And there is a walkway that is added around the workspace with access to the entrance and the door for the exit structure. So this is how detailed or how clear we need to communicate our design to someone who is executing a task on the field or someone who is looking at our project for the first time. So how do we like add, or how do we communicate the layout? How do we add a paper space or a drawing to communicate our drawing, like design or drawings? So for example, if you see in the layout tab, I have created a sheet to add my drawing. So similarly, I'm going to create let's delete this viewport for the time being. I'm going to create a layout with you guys, like step by step, to teach you how to create a paper space and how to start a drawing title block. So the first step is you have to manage your layout. You can click modify or you can set it new. Basically, I use it since I don't have any printer setup. I use it with a DWF plot and standard like size used in Indian drawing is the A3 size that we use to set up our drawings, and I plot to extents. So what is our extent? We will discuss these icons when we get to the tab, and then you can click OK to set your, and then you can close it. So before creating a title block, so first what I do is I create a border matching the boundary of the paper space. And what I want is I want my drawing to be within the dotted space. So you can click, you can specify certain offset such that when you click offset and then you have to select an object, and you can see that the border has been shifted within the drawing space. And why is this important? Because we need to set up borders even within the A3 boundaries to clearly communicate how our drawing is going to be. Similarly, once you have set up your title block, you can go to the layout window to create your viewport. The viewport can be rectangular or it can be, you can create angular viewports or polygonal or based on object to object viewport. So now I am selecting rectangular viewport, and then you can specify your corner of viewport based on the borders you have created. And you can see my drawing is clearly taken from the model space to the view space. And question regarding the viewport, if you double click the model space, you can see that, yeah, this is taken in some adjust to scale. I can adjust it to standard drawing scales, which I have already created. I can create it to 1/8 inch to 1 feet, or I can create it to 1/16 to 1 feet, which is fitting the parameter, and I can pan across to roam around the viewport. So one thing you can pay attention to is if you set the view scale and adjust your view, you have to use your mouse to adjust the viewport. It will set up, and when you double click out, it will exit out of the model space. When you double click, you can see that the paper space gets converted to model space, and when you scroll your mouse, the scale is automatically changing, which you don't want to happen. So it is highly suggested that you use a standard scale that is listed, and then what you can do is use your mouse to control how the drawings appear in your viewport and exit the model space. So this is how you can add a layout to communicate your drawing. The other point that you can use is add text. So for example, I can use, plan view and then select the text and then click enter. So if I go back to my layout 2, I can see, yeah, the plan view has appeared. Now, if I want to place, let's say like below the viewport, I can move it here, and then it is automatically reflected in my layout tab. So you can also place tables and add details, and let's say like you can work upon adding details to your drawing to clearly communicate your design intent. So the purpose of discussing the text, tables, and the annotation elements such as grids or rooms is that to like AutoCAD is like one I won't call it as a disadvantage, or like it was AutoCAD is something it was developed very preliminary CAD tool. So it lets you like add geometries to the modeling space. So what happens is you are like you don't have to model in paper anymore, but you have created a e-drawing space that will let you create and reuse the content. But it is a set of lines and geometry, even though it is a wall, or even though it is, for example, even if you select, for example, a complicated model element such as door, it is modeled using a set of polylines and arcs and doors. So this is you can copy this and use this anywhere across your model where you wish to place the door. So this is how AutoCAD helps you to like if you are drawing it by hand, you will have to draw it every time as new element. Now you are using it, you can copy it and reuse the content. But if you just use this and without any tag or annotation element, the person who is looking at the drawing for the first time might not be able to infer what this drawing is trying to communicate. So you can take you can show someone this drawing and the same drawing added with details. So like it is like you can see that we have added hatch to let's say like to define a room, or we have named room as depending upon the workspace and based on the purpose it serves in the building, based on the functionality. So we need to add these details when we are producing our drawings, so that we can clearly communicate the design intent or the purpose of design that we want to communicate to the person who is executing our task on the field. So when you select layout, you can add additional information in your CAD toolbar. So what happens is you can add a title block. You can create a title block that has your name, the project you're working on, the type of sheets you're working on. So how does that work? How does creating a title block work? So how creating a title block is a slightly an extension of the topic that we are discussing now, but I want you to try it because like it will really help you in checking if you have understood the topic. Is that you're creating you will be first creating the borders like we discussed, and then you will create a section of border and add basic information about you and your project. What is the topic that you're working on? What is the like drawing title, or if you have a drawing number, what is the drawing number, and how to like control the let's say like if you're producing this drawing for a client, what is the client information. So you will add all those basic information, but you will save this particular file as a drawing template. You can go and click save as. You will save it as a drawing template. And when you create a new drawing, you can use the same template to create a drawing which will already have a layout tab with a defined title block. So this is how we work with AutoCAD in creating and communicating our design intent to the people, like to the person who is executing our tasks in the field. So now let's take a momentary stop and then answer questions based on the layout tab and the annotation design intent. So you can take 5 minutes from now to answer the questions based on the fourth subtopic, and we can answer any questions you might be having regarding the same. Yeah. So most of you have got roughly like more than roughly around like 4 questions correct. The frequently missed question was the layouts of the viewports are always rectangular. So like it is not true. The layouts can be customized. So if you see like for example, and then you go to the layout tab, you can see the layout has been rectangular, or it can be polygonal, or it can be based on a closed polyline ellipse spline circle that could be converted into a viewport. So you can define a viewport, you can like define it within a circle or within a ellipse, depending upon how you configure the viewport. So the correct answer is the layout doesn't need to be always rectangular. So is there any other like questions other than this on the quiz based on the
Girish, no questions as of now. You can continue the session.
I will continue with the session.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So till now, what we have discussed is uh, we began with introduction to the application window, and then we discussed how to create basic geometry tools, and then we added how to define the annotation standards and text standards to add details to our drawings. And then the next topic, what we discussed was how to add layout to create our drawings. Now, the next important part is how to define the units for our drawings. So we have like a particular small topic workspace, which we can like I will cover it like after units. Since we have covered the design intent and communicating the drawings, design in the form of drawings, let's define how to define the system of units for our project. So, for example, if you for this, I would suggest you to turn on the coordinates. So coordinates give you the
Girish,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. So there is this question from Piyush. Like how to
Okay.
increase the size of given dimensions is this question.
Okay. How to increase the size of dimension in the given? Okay. So for example, this is the size. This if you select this, if you go to dimension, annotate, and then you have like dimension standard defined per the drawings I have drawn. Now, if you want to manage the dimension styles, so there is a specific feature called annotative dimension style that lets you to regulate the size of dimension based on the parameters. So now that we will get to that when we discuss the parametric features of AutoCAD in tomorrow's session. So now for now, what I can suggest you is you can use create new, and then you can create a standard that is located in your like you can use AutoCAD to look for standards that are already available, and you can create, let's say, like you can call it as style underscore a, and then if you continue, you can increase, for example, if you want to increase the text size in an annotation, text height is 3/16 inch, but you can increase it to what you see it might be visible, or you can make it fit either text or arrows the best fit, so that like it will move it to the extension that it is like visibly seen from the drawings. Or you can use symbols and arrows to increase your arrow size or center mark size based on these standards. So I would suggest you, like if you're using a standard of your own, you will have to look for text size, width, and this. But if you're following the ISO standards, there are standards given to you already that defines the text size and the orientation angle that it should be for particular drawings. I would highly suggest you to like take those standards, follow the standards, and convert the standard settings into AutoCAD using these parameters, and then the standards text will be like visibly seen from the paper space.
No questions. Girish, you can resume the session.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So we will continue with our tabs for units. So right now we have discussed how to communicate our design in the form of drawings. So the primary backbone or skeleton of drawing is units. If you like, all the drawings have to be drawn to certain scale, and they have to mark some annotation. So this discussion marks way for the first topic, like the annotative dimensions and annotative text and objects, and we will discuss what does the term annotative mean in the tomorrow's session. But today, what we will pay more attention to is how to set up units for your current model space. So, like how you can use your dynamic input to select units, and then the type of units I have is architectural. So, if you are a civil engineer or a structural engineer who are producing drawings for the current scale to let's say like to produce floor plans and views, elevation views, section views, you can use architectural, or you have other like you can use engineering units, or you can use fractional to define the system you want your units to be. So I can select architectural, and the unit to scale by standard becomes inches. I can choose feet, or I can choose US survey feet, or okay, or you can choose, for example, if you are marking certain large areas and you want it to be in hectares and acres. So you can use, if you are using a road map, if you are, let's say, if you are planning a road map or a road layout, Autocad can be used to mark road layout for transportation engineers. So you can use miles when it like makes sense for you to use the system of units. So right now we will use inches, and you can control the precision. So if I want my drawing marked close to the half inch, or I don't want any fractional inches, I can round it off to the nearest feet, or I can, let's say, like the drawing is more specific. I want it to the 1/16 inch. So mostly the fractional drawings are like the architectural drawings. We use precision of 1/8, so that like we see that okay, we can mark it close to the wall dimensions or annotation elements that we have designed. Similarly, if you have an angular wall element, you can choose a degree, or let's say like you can choose the precision. You can choose for 3 decimals or 4 decimals, or you can say that 1 decimal, or you can choose clockwise. Or and like if you choose clockwise, it makes it appear with reference to 360 degree. Or if you don't select it, or it calculates the angle in the like say it will otherwise it is the counterclockwise direction that is automatically turned on. Or you can choose decimal. If you choose decimal, you can like decimal inches doesn't make any like logical sense. You can go for meters and millimeters to mark your system of units. Or you can choose 0 degree 0 minutes 0 seconds, or you just need 0 degree 0 minutes, or you just need let's say radians. You want to select in the terms of radians, or you have decimal degrees. So you can use decimal degrees to 2 decimal places. So this is how we set up units for our drawings. So the next like topic that we might be discussing is how to convert from one system of unit to other system of unit. So let's say we have we cancel this. You can apply this. You can you can apply this in your model space to see how to set up system of units. Since my like I would like to be in the imperial units now to demonstrate how to convert from one system of unit to another. So for example, I can let's say like draw a rectangle. to demonstrate this. So for example, we have a rectangle and I'm using my utilities toolbar to measure the distance. It is roughly like 12 feet 8 inches, 12 feet 9 inches rectangle length. I want to convert it into metric units, the millimeters. So what I will do is use the scale command right now. I'll select this object to be, click enter, and then I'll select the base point, or what I'm going to do is specify the scale factor. So when we select the, like when we convert the drawings, we have a 25.4. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Yeah. So okay. Yeah, just give me a minute. Yeah, so we can type the scale factor as 25.4, and then we can see that the drawing has been enlarged to a particular view. So if you use the same utilities toolbar to measure the distance again, once again, so we select, so you have some 323 feet and 578 inches. So this is not the exact modeling element that you wanted to draw. So now what you can do is like select units, and then you can change your system of units to decimal, and then you can change the precision to millimeters, and then you can click OK. And then if you measure the distance again, yeah, you can see that, yeah, this has been modeled to the exact units in the metric system, and your coordinates have shifted from feet and inches to metric coordinates. So this is how we use AutoCAD to convert a system of units from imperial units to metric units. And you can use this to convert angles from degrees to radians, or let's say like you have to convert millimeters to meters. So what you do is you're drawing to scale 1:1 in your modeling space. And if you want to convert a system of units from one to another, all you need to do is use the scale factor, which we accessed using the scale command, which will be really helpful for you in accessing the units. So this is like right now what we have discussed is how to use the drawing toolbar to set up units and how to convert units from one system to another. So now let's take the final quiz for today, which is based on the units, and then we will summarize the discussion for today and proceed, like discuss the topics that we are going to discuss for tomorrow. So we can select, yeah, so you can take 5 minutes to complete this quiz, and then we can discuss your responses and like any questions that you might be having in setting up units or converting units, and probably like switch to the discussions for tomorrow's workshop. So if you have any questions from even the prior topics, this could be a good time to ask those questions. If you have tried out these commands to create basic geometry or set up your drafting styles or textiles, or to set up units, system of units for your drawings, and you have any questions or trouble in accessing those commands in AutoCAD, this should be a good time to take those questions as we are ending, like coming close to the end of today's workshop.
So, are you done with all the sessions, Girish? So there's no
No,
more questions?
this,
No, right?
yeah, this is the final quiz for today. And then I just have a summary of discussion and the topics that we are going to discuss for tomorrow's workshop. So, yeah. So with that,
Okay.
we can come to a pause for today's discussion, and then start with our workshop for tomorrow.
Okay, so there is actually one question from Basket. It's like, he's asking, like, you said for millimeters, how it is coming in feet.
How it is coming in feet. Yeah. So if you pay closer attention to what I did. So the first, when I demonstrated units, so let us say, yeah, I have units, and then we went over architectural, decimal, and engineering system of units, and then I clicked cancel. So the system of units was not reflected before, and by standard my drawing, it's location based, my drawings were systematically based in imperial units, and my coordinates were in feet and inches automatically. So what I did was I created a rectangle and then used the scale factor to increase it by 25.4 times. And then what I did was I changed the system of units to millimeter, and then when I measured it, I got the dimensions to the exact millimeter. So by default, my drawing space was in, let's say, fractional inches. And then I use scale factor to increase my drawings to millimeters.
Thank you. Yeah, that's all the questions. You're right to receive the response for the
Yeah,
quiz. Yeah. Girish,
yeah,
so
yeah.
meanwhile, there's a question from Ria. It's like
Okay.
converting the units, why scale factor given as 25? Will it be giving the same dimension as the first drawing in millimeter or the scale one?
Okay. So the 25.4 is not a standard number. It is for example, we have 1 inch is, so for example, we have our default system of units defined in our basic drawing as fractional inches. So if we wish to convert our drawing to millimeters, so what happens is, so we need the scale factor that relates 1 inch to the 1 millimeter. So if you search for what is the scale factor to convert 1 inch to 1 millimeter, is the factor that it relates is 25.4. So if you want to model to scale in your metric units, what it means is you need to scale the drawing by 25.4 and then add your dimensions to it. So if you are reducing your drawing from millimeters to inches, let's say, so what you will have to do is reduce, you will have to apply a scale factor of 1 by 25.4 to make your model as accurate, to the scale that it was drawn before. Yes, the for example, if your drawing is 8 inches in the first in the imperial units, with scale factor it will be 8 times 25.4 millimeters. It is to the scale drawn with the scale factor. And why do we need to convert units? So for example, when you're drawing a new system of drawings, you don't have to convert drawings. But if you are let's say, if you're working to import from one system, if you're importing data from one drawing to another, or exporting from one data to another, it is highly essential that you might have to convert units during the course of project. So you can use the convert units and scale factor to adjust these parameters.
Thank you. Question from Bhaskar again. It's like he's asking how areas are calculated in case if we want to know the areas.
Okay, so area command is simple. If you just select area from the command bar and then select, and then specify the first corner of area and the last corner, and then you select the close space and then enter. So you can see the area has been computed as 7,200 millimeters square millimeters, and the perimeter is 410 millimeters. So the area command helps you in calculating both area and perimeter.
Yeah, thank you, Girish.
Yeah.
I think we are done with the
So
questions.
let's take a look at the responses. Architectural or construction drawings are preferred in imperial units. So this question is slightly I have designed it. I don't know if it was a location-based question. So, like most of the construction drawings, if you speak to people on the field, they prefer it in the like imperial units. So they have certain most of the wall components thickness sometimes here are based on the imperial units, and it could vary from location to location or manufacturer to manufacturer. So the most commonly preferred is the imperial units, and the units can be found under which of the following tabs. So units can be found under the application dynamic input. So you can select it here, or you can use it under the status bar. So we are not using it under the annotation window or the layout window. We are just using it under the application window or the status bar. Lengthen the line. So in order to lengthen the line, we use, so for example, the command that we use is len. So what does the command len do? Is nothing but when you select len, this will help you in changing the length of objects. For example, if you want to extend the line by certain amount or change the angle by certain amount, trim or extend, lengthen command helps you to perform these operations in AutoCAD. Similarly, if you have area command, like we discussed, it lets you to compute the area of the boundary. Similarly, length can be computed by which of the following shortcut commands. You can use either length or distance. Both of these commands helps you in adding annotation or measuring length of the model elements in your workspace. So yeah, so I hope like most of you have answered these questions correctly, and thank you for taking the time for today, like answering these questions, and hope these questions help you in understanding AutoCAD even better. So yeah, so to summarize the topics that we discussed today, we began with introduction to AutoCAD and the icons and toolbars that are present in the toolbar window, and then we learned how to set up drafting styles and annotation styles. And also we discussed how to set up textiles and annotation styles for drawing, and then how to convert a drawing from a model space to a paper space. So once we did that, how to add dimensions and how to add units and how to convert units from one system to another in today's session.